You know how you know we're getting close to spring? Because today we're going to talk about what our favorite things to grow is, because damn it, we're probably not growing them yet. Right here on the Backyard Gardens podcast, what we love to grow.
To have a good harvest, one must plant good seeds and must also use the right kind of fertilizer. The carrots have grown large and firm. How good they will taste.
Welcome to the Backyard Gardens podcast, where we talk about all things gardening and give the information out for you to be successful in your garden, whether it's your first or your last. We are your hosts, Ben, the backyard gardener, and
Batavia, the front yard gardener.
one in the country,
One in the city.
Now get ready as we dig deep into this wonderful world of gardening as we learn to grow and grow for change. If you're watching the YouTube video, that last head bob was just me teasing Batavia all day long. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Because I'm sassy today, not Batavia.
Yeah, welcome to what every conversation ends up being like between us, whether it's minute 10 or hour 3, right? You're going to get some of that.
Oh, yeah. That's what keeps it spicy, though.
Mm-hmm. But hey, I love you, buddy.
I love you, too.
Look, even besides that, despite that.
You'll keep me around for a little bit?
Just a little bit longer.
Okay. Whew. I was getting nervous. Mm-hmm. So, before we get started, we have two things. One, hit up that giveaway, baby. Direct sowing closes May 1st. And then also, we have a question. They're starting to come back in, yeah. Which I kind of
have to get back into the groove of like the appropriate bell ringing when it comes to these things.
You'll
now.
get it.
So,
You'll get it.
I'm out of practice.
I kind of figured that over the winter they would die off, and then and now they're starting to come back. So here's one that years ago I thought I knew the answer to, and then I learned that I didn't, and then I learned that I did, and then I learned that I didn't, and now I'm comfortable with my answer.
Okay.
And it's a simple question. Do you think using tires for planters could be harmful?
I think it could be harmful, right? I choose not. I've not researched this a bit. That much. I choose not to grow in them like for vegetables and things. But I think they make some beautiful kind of decorative arrangements for flowers. So are you going to walk us through the back and forth, or are you just going to tell us what you know to be the answer?
I can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, let's fast forward to what you know to be the answer.
I would say no.
Yeah, okay. And why not? All of the bad things have already kind of seeped out. Well,
it's one of those things, and I'm with you about the whole, I don't think they're beautiful, but I think it's a great way to repurpose. And I think that gardeners in general are big repurposers. And, if you're listening to this and you are a repurposer, let us know, because I would like to know if I'm correct or not. But, it's a good way to repurpose. But when it comes down to it, it's you got to think about what's food grade and what's not food grade. You know what I mean? And even then, I grow in buckets that aren't food grade. You know what I mean? They're
so easy to come. Well, they're so easy to come by for me.
Yeah.
Food grade buckets, right?
I mean, you can get food grade buckets, but it's a hell of a lot easier to run in the store and buy one for $1.25. That's not food grade. Yeah. But the rubber is just not food grade. So my suggestion is just don't do it.
Wait, I thought the question was, is it harmful? And then your answer seemed to be no.
No. Yes, it is harmful because it's not food grade. Sorry.
Okay. All right.
Did I totally misspeak that?
I don't remember now. I heard you as no, it's not harmful.
Well,
so
I
was waiting on your explanation as to why not.
Well, we're going to go ahead and base it on the fact that somebody didn't listen to the first 2 minutes and then be like, oh, he said nope, good, we're going to leave. So no, you should not, I don't think. And it broke my heart because I had access to a lot of tires at one point, and they are perfect for growing potatoes and stuff in. But
I was scavenging. So as a note, because we're going to talk about favorite vegetables to grow. Hold on. We're going to get there. But as a note, I in the spring is a favorite time for mine because, returning to the outdoors, yada, yada, yada. But it's also a great time to scavenge. And I'm a firm believer of, especially in the city where I'm at, I take the long route. I drive through alleys in the daytime. And so there's so many things that people are throwing out and tossing out. I have, you can't see it here, but there is a little kind of stand, like a magazine stand here. I picked up. I have all kinds of stuff that I've repurposed. And I remember collecting tires from like this whole tire shop. And I was like, every time I do it, I feel like I'm MacGyver or something. I'm like, creeping through, the night and putting them in my truck. And then when I got home, I started poking around and I'm just like, maybe not. And so I ended up putting them back in my alley. And someone comes around and pick them up.
Well, and I mean, think about this. I used to be a mechanic back in the day, and we would have tires out back, and we would spray transmission fluid inside of them and WD-40 because the mosquitoes would live in there. Okay. And it would deter them from laying eggs. So that was and I know, look, that was in my younger days. I get it. You did what? But yes, that's what we did. And guess what? That's what people still do. So even if you go get it, like, you're harmless and they don't even think about it. And that stuff is sitting in your tire with water and then you're going to go plant it in it. So, and I'm not one for being like, well, what if they use pesticides? That's not really my gig usually. So.
Yeah, so you said that they can't necessarily be pretty. I've seen people do things like paint them, spray paint them. I think those make for very great kind of, it's garden art when it comes to flowers. So, I'm for that. But I think then you can kind of.
That's your opinion and you're entitled to it. I don't like the way they look.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate that. Yeah.
I just don't like the way they look.
So anyway, all right. Well, I think that's an interesting question. I think there's a whole set of conversations around kind of what to and what shouldn't you use. It's interesting because I was doing a garden walk because they're back and it's like 50 degrees this morning and I'm excited about it. And I was looking at the cage baby. So the truth moment, the cage baby, the garden beds themselves are cedar wood. And I have tried to use cedar wood, which when I was building these things, it was super expensive then, right? More than like, any other kind of wood. Now the price of lumber is crazy. But anywho, there's cedar, but the cage baby itself is pressure treated, right? And so when it came, because they were built at two separate times, when it came to building that and trying to measure the cost, I was conscious of it, but I'm like, let's just be realistic. I'm not growing in on next to the cage, right? And maybe I made an excuse for myself, but I was also looking at how good that wood still looked after a whole winter.
Have you looked into using pressure treated wood? Like read up on it?
Yeah, and I've gone with the what they use now to treat the wood in the last 10 or 12 years can be deemed safe. I think it's how far you want to look into a thing, how much you want to believe a thing, how much you want to consider natural chemicals versus not. So there's not a high horse that I ride when it comes to that.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, I just replaced all my garden beds with pressure treated, and I am here to sing it from the top of the mountain that I did it. And anybody who has something to say about it, you know what you can do, because I looked it up and I did pressure treated before and I got berated. And this is before I did any of this. It was privately and I got beat up. You're going to let that stuff leach into your garden. It's going to kill you. And I'm look
glad
at
that
it.
You're still alive.
I am very much so alive. I don't have cancer of any sort. I've been screened. I'm good to go. But this was before that change happened in the chemicals. Okay. So now it's different. And I had another guy down the road. He is a builder.
Yeah.
And he was explaining to me the whole process behind pressure treated and everything. And that came up in conversation, and he was like, I would use it in a heartbeat. He was like, it's totally different now. And it's just, I guess they treated it with arsenic before, and now they don't. So, and it's like, think about it this way. You do everything in your garden organically, everything. And then you use pressure treated wood. Is that necessarily going to offset everything that a factory farm, which is what a lot of people are worried about and that's why they start gardens?
Sure.
Do you think that's worse than everything they spray?
Yeah.
Or everything that's genetically spliced into a seed? I mean...
So I'm okay with you using, and not that you're looking for my permission, you or anyone else, but I'm okay with you using pressure treated wood. I think we all have choices, but I think that the argument is nuanced. So if I have this rusty, pot, but I have some great ingredients that I'm cooking in, and I'm tossing them into that rusty pot, So, I mean, I think the thing that I always struggle with, because I'm a fighter for the people, and it sounds like I say that in jest, but it's true, right?
No, yeah.
It really pisses me off when we get on the high horse and we bully people, right?
Yeah.
So there is full on, like you said, like everything stopping short of saying you're going to die. Like, I can't believe you're putting that in your garden. We've seen that with material. We've seen that with types of, I'm like spitting mad, right? We've seen that with types of vegetables, like you're buying seeds from this place or this place. Like, we've seen that when it comes to how you treat your garden, when it comes to, harming pollinators or not, right? Like, they're things I believe in, but I am not going to preach to you about what you should do. People come to things in their own time. We shouldn't have started off with this because you're getting me fired up. I
know. Well, and I mean, really, the way I look at it is if you ask, I'll tell you. But like, I wouldn't say anything. You know what I mean? And it's like people that use like Miracle Grow and stuff like that. Like, and we've said it before, like, good, use it.
Yeah.
Whatever. You know what I mean? It's not going to kill you.
Yeah.
It's not.
I think it's exactly that when you ask. Remember the guy that was like, I have a collard greens video from last year, and it's interesting because I don't normally do this, but I think it's a great tactic for my collard greens. It was, midsummer, like August or something. I harvested just a whole mess of collards, and while I keep them covered and they're mostly clean, if you will, you still have residue, bug droppings, all of that stuff. So I had the hose and I was doing a kind of a pre-rinse, right? So I rinsed them all off with the hose, and ultimately I took them inside and did a few different washings. And so this is on my YouTube channel at Be Better Garden. And so he commented basically saying like, it's great that you're growing the vegetables. Like, I don't know if he said that, but he's like, you're going to die based on, using that hose and the material the hose is made out of, and that's been sitting out all day. And I'm just like, thanks for stopping by.
If I would have seen that comment, you want me to tell you exactly what I would have said?
What's that?
You pretentious bastard. You know what I mean? Like, how many people that are listening to this show spent their childhood drinking out of hoses? And how many people sitting here right now that listen to that show are still alive? That's all I got to say. You know what I mean? Like, give me a break. Yeah,
I mean, I think that when we know better, we do better. But then I look and say, like, what do you think I'm watering my garden with? And people are on the interweb. But, it didn't faze me any because
it makes me so mad, though, that people do that. It's like, come on. You literally look for a reason to belittle somebody. So
well, that was like 2 minutes into a 5-minute video, so he was halfway there.
Hey, thanks for your 2 minutes, pal.
Yeah, right.
And if you guys want to know about really what we feel about it, because we're just about to move on, I'm calling it. You can go back and listen to our social media gardening episode. That will kind of break down a lot of this stuff for you. But just be safe. I would not plant in tires, but if you plant in tires and I see it, I won't say anything because that's your garden, not mine. And I don't have a strong feeling either way. So, that being said, why don't we do this? Why don't we take a minute for our sponsor, and then we'll come back.
All right.
And everybody will be nice and calm and collected with our new subject. All right, everybody. Now that it's spring, we're going to do one more giveaway to get seeds in your garden, and we're going to do our direct seed sowing giveaway, which happens to be Ben's favorite giveaway, shockingly enough. Giveaway closes on May 1st, 2021, and Batavia is going to let you know one of the ways to enter.
So one of the ways to enter is by going to backyardgardenstv.com and enter your email address. With this, you'll be entered into the May 1st giveaway and all future giveaways. And then for an extra entry,
head over to YouTube to the Backyard Gardens YouTube channel and watch the video Gardeners Love Spring. Watch it, like it, and leave a comment telling us what your favorite thing to either grow in your garden is or your favorite thing about spring gardening. That way, we know more about you and you might win our seeds. Now on to our regularly scheduled program. All right, now that we've moved on, and we even said we weren't going to do that anymore, and we did it. So shame on you, Batavia. You brought it up.
Yeah, shame on me because I'm still scrolling to go back to the comment. Like, maybe I was more upset about it. All right, I'm moving on. I moved on.
So, favorite vegetables. What do we got?
Yeah.
What do we got?
Well, we're going to get it out of the way because if you've ever listened to an episode of the Backyard Gardens podcast, you know tomatoes. I'm going to be more specific,
How are you going to start in the summer?
Oh, do we want to back up?
We want to back
yeah.
up. Let's start in the spring.
All right.
Let's do brassicas.
Oh, okay. Well, we're starting in the spring, but I'm going to talk about brassicas, not necessarily having grown them in the spring, but I have enjoyed them and grown them before. Right back to the poisonous water hose. Oh, I haven't let it go, have I?
Let it go.
Collard greens.
I dropped my limit of F-bombs for the show, so don't get me riled up. You're good.
That's like the platinum level F-bomb that you dropped too, just so you know. Like that's
because I got super fired up.
Yeah. Collard greens are my favorite. Hands down, my favorite brassica. I think maybe I'll get one more shot at brassicas. And it's interesting because for me, it's probably, I use it and prepare it in the least versatile ways. Like I don't do a lot of different things with collard greens, and I'm just fine with that.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. I mean, I think you like or love what you love, you know?
Yeah. I think when I think of vegetables that you do the least with, collard greens is right up there, and it's still good.
Yeah. I mean, so there are things like collard green wraps. You know, I've heard a person or two use them for smoothies. You can obviously when they're that's a strong taste there. You can when they're younger, they could make for really good salad greens versus when they're a little bit older, they get to be a little bit tougher. But for me in collards, like absolutely the way I grew up on them. It's a pot of Southern collard greens, right? Like I want all of the nutrition from that green in that pot liquor, right?
Yeah.
You know, like, so yeah, that's my absolute favorite. I was thinking about this before we started, and I'm wondering, is it a favorite because I've had such great luck growing it, you know, any of these, or is it a favorite because it's a favorite? And for collards, I'm settling on it's a favorite because it's a favorite. Actually, right now, and I think you've already heard part of this in my garden update, I continue to kill collard greens. So there's that. It's not like I've had a lot of success when I'm starting them indoors. So we'll see this year if I need to go out and buy some starts. But anyway, yeah, collards. Favorite.
I've had a pretty good year with collards so far. So I think what we should do too is this year, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like right now, I'm having a good collard year.
Well, good on you.
Yeah, it is good on me. Except for I'm growing the wrong kind.
Oh,
I'm growing a container variety, and I didn't want a container variety, but I was like, I got the seeds, so I've got to graduate from the container variety next year. So, for me,
let's do big boy collard greens, big girl collard greens.
Yes, ma'am. Hey, look, I was trying to be cheap and just use what I had. You know, it's not the end of the world. Oh, for me, my favorite brassica, I would have to say it's going to be. Well, truth be told, I'm going to have to say it's broccoli.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel good about knowing just a little bit about you. And
how does that surprise you?
Well, I mean, but it's not like you've had like a stellar broccoli growing career, though. No,
you know what? Broccoli is notoriously kind of difficult to grow. Yeah, I've always struggled with it, but I love broccoli. So,
my neighbor, I was out doing some garden cleanup. If you've heard the mini-so mom tells us to get out and clean our garden. So I was listening, and this is a neighbor 2 doors over, and we were talking, and she's like, oh, you're good now? And she's like, are you growing anything different? And so then I felt like the immediate need to list off the things, but also keep to myself, like, but I've never been successful at them. Like, you know, like when I talk about these things, like I want to confess. So broccoli was one of those, and I've never successfully grown a head of broccoli, you know.
Oh, you haven't?
I've never. Nope.
So I have good years and I have bad years, and it's never like in between. So like this year is we'll see. But I have had, last year was not an overly good year, but that was piss poor planning on my part. So, and I mean, I like broccoli. I like broccoli raw. Yeah. I like broccoli with just soy sauce steamed. I like broccoli casserole. I like broccoli and cheese. I like, I like all kinds of broccoli. So.
Yeah. Broccoli is one of those veggies for me where I buy it so infrequently, but I always enjoy it when I have it.
Yeah, we buy it all the time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, well, there you have it.
Yeah. It pisses me off though. It's also the vegetable, the brassica that makes me the maddest. So.
Come on. You're not going to leave us there.
Oh, I am. I'm going to leave you right there.
Well, let me ask you one question about it since you've had good and bad years. It feels like one of those that, so a head of broccoli is a head of broccoli. Like it's not going to feed a whole family, right? So I'm just thinking about the size of the garden, how much broccoli you have to grow to really feel like you've gotten a good crop of broccoli.
Well, first of all, broccoli is pretty good because it takes up about a square foot. So you can really pack it in. That being said, I'm growing right now. I have 18 heads of broccoli growing.
Oh, okay.
And again, I don't grow to only be my food supply. I grow to supplement.
Yep.
So if I get 12 of those heads, that's 12 meals. And then I can go buy another 6 or 7 at the store. So, either way.
Yeah.
And then I'll also let them go to the side shoot if I have time. And then I'll collect the side shoots as well.
Yeah, the babies.
Yeah,
the
but
baby
see, broccoli is notoriously hungry.
It's a heavy feeder.
It's a heavy feeder. So, and that's where I lose it. So, like I guess I'm sitting here talking to you about. I'm like, well, when I'm done with the podcast, I'm gonna go out there and feed my broccoli. And my cauliflower.
Yeah. So I think for me though, I agree, I don't eat solely out of my garden. I don't even know if I want to say one day, but that's another conversation. But I still have to balance the space I have and what I want to grow in that space, right? So if I can look at, how many of you said, like, that's a garden bed for me. Like, I probably wouldn't grow 18 or try to grow 18 broccoli plants, But am I really getting my worth from it if I grow 4? Like, I don't know. I am going to grow broccoli because, damn it, it's not going to beat me, but we'll see if it's something that, really has a home in my garden going forward. Yeah. Okay. So my next.
Well, you're not doing brassicas anymore, are you?
Oh, I had one more.
No, hell no. It's tops.
Did I? Oh, okay.
What's your favorite root?
You're really moving forward. I really can't go on.
I'm moving forward. I'm going through it. I'm driving.
Yeah. So my favorite root, which I've not successfully grown, so I'm gonna have to default to my favorite root to eat. I'm gonna go easy and go carrots, right? So
that's not easy.
Well, no, easy when it comes to one to choose, but not easy clearly when it comes to one to grow. So this is absolutely a challenge vegetable for me. I got like what amounted to a baby carrot last year and so excited about it. If you pan through my Instagram page, there's a picture of me like it's my firstborn child, right? But it's been difficult for me to grow. I'm hoping for them this year. Very different than the other vegetable that we name. There's so many different things that I can do with carrots. They keep so long. I eat them in a bunch of different ways. And unlike when we were children, it's like you don't want to eat carrots, one of your least favorite things. I really enjoy them, whether it's eating them fresh, whether it's, I eat a lot of salads. And so I'll put a whole carrot on a salad, shaved carrots.
I love shaved carrots on a salad. Damn, that's good. It's
something about that just the change of texture compared to eating it
easier
any other
to
way.
eat too.
Yeah. It's funny because I never used to do it. My grandmother used to when she used to make salads, and again, I was a kid like, but I got a side salad from a restaurant, and they had like this kind of cucumber dressing and the shaved, and it was probably like a fourth of a carrot. And I was like, wait a minute. This is how I want every salad, right? So I'd love to get to the point where I have enough carrots to juice. Part of the things that I grow and trying to get the idea of being able to grow a lot of it is to be able to juice at home, because buying vegetables to juice is so expensive. And so I typically don't do it, but I have a big old juicer underneath my cabinets or underneath my counter. I'd love to be able to do that. So anyway, carrots. See, this is my hardest one. Because you're a lover, man.
I'm a true lover of growing roots. It's the equivalent. Growing roots is the equivalent of jumping out of an airplane to me. Because when you get that, you're like, yes, I got something. Because you don't know what the hell's going to happen. You have no clue. Yeah, you have no clue. Like, you pull it up, you're like, damn, it's just a little one. Yeah. I'm going to have to say, damn it, this is hard. And I'm going to have to put an asterisk, a big one by this one. I'm gonna have to say parsnips. So,
yeah. I should know that too. Yeah,
you should know that, and well, actually, you should not know that because it could be a couple different things. But they're a high value crop for me. Being that, well, okay. So all year, I've said I can't get them in the store. Guess what I found in the store?
Of course you did. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, but you only get 2 per pack. So it's like $3 for 2, and I was like, well, hell, I got like $40 out of my garden this winter. But I like them for 2 reasons. One, because I can sow them in the summertime and collect them in the winter. I like them because when I collect them in the winter, I can leave them in the ground while it's frozen or freezing, and then get them as needed. And I like them because they add a completely different flavor to anything, and I use them as potato replacements, so it cuts down on the starches in my meals. So and I like them because when I pull them up, my son goes, wow, that's a big ass white carrot. So all of those things combined.
I bought the dirtiest parsnips you have ever seen from the farmer's market last year. They were huge. I thought about David when I'm like, I'll take 2 of those. I actually am still reworking my spring garden plan in the midst of spring, and I keep on leaving like 2 vegetables off, and parsnips is one of them. But I actually have what I believe is a master plan, and I'm so proud of it. I'm not going to share it with you just yet, and I'm really hoping this is the thing that I've been missing, and it just all of a sudden came to me in a dream. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to need to basically do a lot of, what's the term? I always forget. Plant this week, plant next week, plant the week
Successive.
after. I'm going to have to do a lot of that, because some of these vegetables we're talking about, roots in particular, they give a lot. I mean, we saw the big white carrot, right? The parsnip. I mean, that's what, 2 potatoes worth? 3
I mean,
maybe?
it can be, so.
Yeah. All right.
You gotta know.
I'm still upset about only getting 1 choice.
That's all you get. That's the world we live in. You get 1 shot.
If I would have known that, I would have still chosen collard greens. But I would have contested the 1.
No, and you can't go back in your own secret way. I see what you're doing, and you can't do it.
I am absolutely plotting and planning in my head. Like, how can I work this other vegetable in? Yeah. All right.
Ma'am. No, ma'am.
Moving on.
What is your favorite legume?
Oh, I'm going to go straight. I'm going to go your traditional green bean.
That's a solid choice, man.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's funny because I paused around the horror associated with, green beans and me from my childhood. And it's just amazing how, your mind works and how things shift. But I mean, there was something about it that makes me feel like a gardener. And as the disclaimer, there is not a vegetable that you can grow that makes you a gardener and not, but
that's not true.
Yes, it is.
I know it is.
But when it comes to like that connection, right, it's like green beans is the thing, and it's the thing I enjoy as well. And soup. Look, put some green beans in a soup, any soup. Well, maybe not any soup, but there's so many different ways that you can prepare them, eating them fresh. So you've not had a green bean. I'm telling you, you've not had a green bean unless you've had a fresh green bean.
I beg to differ. I do not like fresh green beans. I know. I just heard everybody's cars slam on brakes. People are going off the road right now. I even heard one guy just jump out of the airplane because I said that.
I don't understand.
I don't like them fresh. I only can them. Or if I cook them fresh, I cook the crap out of them so they taste like they're canned. My whole family is that way too. It's weird.
I still don't understand, but okay.
How do you not understand? I
don't understand the words you're saying. It's almost like there's some translation of the words because what I'm hearing can't be. I heard you say you don't like green beans fresh.
I don't like them fresh.
What you have said, yeah.
No.
Okay.
And you know why? And so green beans is an interesting case study for me. Mm-hmm. It's because I was raised on...
We're doing case studies now?
Yeah, because I was raised on eating them canned. I never ate a fresh green bean until I had a garden, and I just don't like it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think frozen green beans that were thawed and boiled, canned green beans, like grew up on that as well, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm going to move on. So green beans, in a number of different ways you can eat them. They are a giving crop too, so it's funny because are you hearing the reasons why we love a thing is different for each vegetable? Are you hearing that? Yeah. Okay. Green beans.
I'm with you too. So for the case of the show, I'm going to go a little bit different than green beans, but I do love green beans, and it's neck and neck with snow peas. And the reasoning is basically the same. So the only thing about the snow peas is again, it's a high value crop. A quarter pound, or I think it's, for me in the store here, it's like $4.99 for a half pound. And I can get a half pound a day when I do it right. So, you're talking big time savings. And second of all, the same thing with the green bean is it produces, man. And you're out there and you've got to tend it and you've got to take care of it. And it's something that provides you something to bring in the house every single day.
Yeah.
And you go out there and you pick those green beans or those snow peas, and I come in the house, I'm like... Look at what I got in the garden today. You know what I mean? Like, no, it's just impressive looking. It makes you feel good. Yeah. It makes you happy. And it'll work the shit out of you, though. That's the problem.
Yeah. Let me ask you. I did have, literally this morning, I was walking outside and I was saying, I need to ask you this. And I forgot to ask you before we started. Is there a too cold temperature to plant snow peas in?
They say as soon as the ground's workable.
Okay.
They said what they say. So, I mean, I've seen people move snow aside. So,
so
but
listen,
go ahead.
I don't want the person that remembers this conversation last year to bring this up.
So why are you bringing it up?
And for everyone that doesn't remember it, forget what I'm about to say. So there's an episode last year where I'm like, all right, you beat me up enough. I'm going to go outside and plant snow peas. And I totally didn't. But I'm going to plant snow peas this week. And so this episode will air a little bit later, just so y'all know. But I'm planting snow peas this week. I need to get something in the ground now. I need to feed the urge.
That's another reason why I like snow peas, because it's first. It is first to go in. Now, another reason why I like them is because I like them raw in the garden. It's one of the few things that I eat while I'm standing in the garden by the fistful.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, when it grows, it's really slow to start.
Yeah.
And once it gets to about that first rung on your trellis and it starts to grip, it seems like that's when it takes off. So you say you can plant it early, but I honestly don't know if it's beneficial to plant it that early, but at the same time, what does it hurt?
Yeah. Yeah, we're still expected to get some freezing temps. It's the bed I plan on planting them in, it's workable, but we still expect to get some freezing temps. But by the time we do... Listen now. That's a different cadence for listen now. I need you to note that.
It is. That's trouble. That means Ben, shut up, Ben.
It's going to, they probably won't germinate before the freezing temps come and go. So we'll see.
So mine, I've had it in the ground for about a solid 6 weeks, and they've been through 20 degrees.
Okay.
15, no, not 15, 25, 27, 80 degree days. They've been through the whole gamut.
Yeah.
And they're coming up. So,
Okay.
I think it comes, I think they just have a lighter temperature to let them grow. You know what I mean? Like, soil temperature doesn't have to be as high.
Okay.
That didn't come out right. But, and also
That's
it's a
okay.
nitrogen fixer, supposedly.
Yeah.
I put the supposedly in for you, and we don't need to harp on that, but all of our regular listeners will know that like there's questions about a lot of these things from both of us, and Batavia's in particular, like I don't know about the nitrogen fixer. So
just for those that haven't picked up, Ben is the director of our episodes. However, you're doing way too much directing today, man. Like you literally you gave me the seed, and then you're like, but that's all we're gonna say about that. And it's like I want to say more. All right,
what do you want to say? I'll give you 2 minutes to say.
That's all I need.
We got a whole garden to go through, a whole year's worth of gardening.
I understand.
Favorite nightshade? I know. Just get it out.
Yeah. Tomatoes. Oh!
Do it.
I'm sorry. I just, so there's a part of me that's generally critical of myself. And sometimes I go through like, really? And I actually get excited looking at pictures of tomatoes from gardens. So, I mean, please tag, and Ben's going to love it. Please tag BYG Podcast on your tomatoes this year, because I want to be happy and you all can make me happy. The only way that growing up I can remember eating tomatoes are in things like soups and stews, like vegetable soup, and fresh in salads, right? Like a side salad, with a meal was a big thing kind of growing up. Now, I can't remember like the taste of tomatoes back then. They were almost always store-bought. But now, unlike some of the other vegetables, I will find a way to eat every type of tomato. There is not a fresh garden tomato that I've grown and eaten that I didn't like. Now, there's some that I didn't love, but there are not any that I didn't like. So
is it safe to say that you are a tomato connoisseur?
You know what? Not yet. I was going through. Truth moment. You don't know what you don't know until you know it, right? So
whoa, I just got lost in that, but I got you.
I did too. I went back through it through my head and said, if it doesn't make sense, I just need to move on. Let me move on. I'm directing this part.
Go for it.
There were obviously I knew there were different types of tomatoes, but I had no idea that there were hundreds of types of tomatoes, right?
Right.
And I mentioned this before. Like I think I haven't researched it, but someone said, and because I want to believe this, I'm going to believe it, like up to 400 different types. Remember I was saying I did the math of like how long it would take me to grow all of them. But this morning, this is a good day for me. So all of these thoughts have been in my head this morning. This morning I thought, I'm going to commit to growing all of them. Period.
Do it. So are you doing something new this year?
Poo. I'm growing different types of tomatoes this year. Yeah.
Good. So what is the number that you're up to now?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, we're not that far into the plan yet.
Yeah, we're not that far into it, but one of the challenges that I have, and this is a challenge if you have other vegetables that you really like, one of the challenges that I have is growing the things I know that will perform, like my standbys, like having room for those, but then also having room to, include those new ones, right? And then there is that small piece of like, you really need to be able to use these tomatoes. So that's going to be one of the things I donate the most, probably, is going to be tomatoes because,
So what are you growing this year? What varieties are you growing?
Yeah, I was trying to look at my notes, man. I don't remember. I'm doing like a Cherokee purple. I'm doing a standard. I'm doing like 3 types of paste tomatoes. The Amish tomato. I'm doing your classic Roma. There's like one more variety, the Sans Marzano. I'm doing that for your what would we just call them? Paste tomatoes. I'm doing it's mortgage lifter. It's supposed to be like a huge tomato. So it's a slicer. I'm doing like one more or two more, and it's kind of the mixed tomato. I love buying the mixed colored tomatoes, like the salad sized tomatoes from the store. So I'm going to try to grow those. I'm doing tomatoes in containers again. I'm going up in size for containers. I'm growing them in the ground. I think the number is still upwards of a dozen or more total tomato plants.
So I'm growing, and this is all for you, by the way. I'm growing orange banana tomatoes.
Oh.
My personal excitement is Honest Abe's.
Okay, yeah.
I'm just solid name. Can't go away from it. Brandywine, which I'm not overly excited about.
Mm-hmm. And, I'm hoping for better luck for you than I had with Brandywine.
Oh, I might not even put it in my garden. So I haven't decided yet. And then blue cream cherry tomatoes, and my personal favorite, husk tomatoes, or some people call them ground cherries. Mm-hmm. So now I asked you if you were a connoisseur because I want to know the truth. Is there really that much different in taste in the different varieties?
Yeah, I think it's a different, and I finally found my list, and it's 13 different types of tomatoes.
This year?
And it makes me warm and gushy inside. Yeah.
Right.
Compared to like 7 different types of tomatoes last year. So it absolutely is. But one of the things with tomatoes, that's one of the plants that you will absolutely influence the taste of. Right. So tomatoes are mostly water, right? Mm-hmm. Your watering habits, when you pick them, all of those things fold into how sweet or not that tomato is going to be. You know, every tomato isn't designed to be sweet. So all of those things influence what you're going to get. And while I haven't mastered that, I am very well, kind of aware of it. There's some tomatoes that I grow them one year and they were great. The next year it's kind of like blah, you know? So real quick rundown, because we're still here. Looking at the time, Cherokee Purple, Pineapple, Old German, Mortgage Lifter, Big Boy, because Early Girl, because it's early, San Marzano, I think it's pronounced, Amish Paste, Roma, Green Zebra, because I love it. Chef's Blend is the one that I talked about with the kind of salad style, different colors. I don't remember Honeycomb. I don't even remember having that one. And Sweetheart Patio. And I have 2 tomato plants that, this is the surprise, that volunteer in a container I brought inside, and they started to germinate in January. And because I can't help myself, I let it grow, transferred it. It was still in my grow room in March. Yep. And I'm almost certain they're cherry tomatoes, which I'm not crazy about. I enjoy them, but anyway, I'm going to plant at least one of them in a container just to see.
Do it.
So. All right, I'm going to step back because I appreciate you. You gave me a lot of runway with that one.
I gave you a lot. And I'm going to give you a lot. And I do want to add to it. So for me, I don't like the taste of raw tomatoes. And I try every year. And I made a commitment 2 years ago. I said, if somebody serves me tomatoes, I will not remove them. And I don't. I get through it. Just an effort to try it. I like them cooked. I like them, sauces. And I grow them solely to can. Yeah. I will say this, though. I cannot have a garden without a tomato in it because I love the smell of a tomato plant. Mm-hmm. Love it. So right now, my seedlings, I'm rubbing my hands in them and smelling them. I love the smell. It smells amazing.
Like the garden. Yeah.
It smells like a garden.
I appreciate that because I could literally feel myself getting, like, my eyes getting weepy.
I can see it. Yeah. I didn't mean to, but I could see it. But I mean,
that's probably the only thing in the garden that I really want people to enjoy. Like, meaning, like, I really, really want you to. I really, really want you to. Otherwise, I'm kind of like, I get it, Yeah. But,
so my favorite nightshade would be a pepper.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not really picky on the pepper, but if I really had to choose, I would say a hot pepper. Mm-hmm, because it's amazing that you can grow something that can cause that much pain. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I mean, some of them too.
Remember, my best girlfriend was like, "I don't understand why you want to eat something that causes you pain.
That's how I roll, man.
I'm like, I don't understand it either, but do you want it or not?
Yeah. So, I mean, it amazes me. And it's one thing I've learned too is the hotter the pepper, like, well, and I don't know this for a fact, but like I grew habaneros one year because I just wanted a couple. It was the most productive plant I've ever grown.
Interesting. Yeah.
It just kept, and I was like, I can't eat these. Like I can't do anything about it. So
yeah.
I did take a different turn this year, and I'm growing lipstick peppers this year. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be the sweetest pepper in the world.
Oh, interesting.
Supposedly. So,
Okay.
but you know, I'm growing a grande jalapeno. So,
Oh, do you have those seeds?
yeah, they're not very good. So they're a little old. So I planted a whole pack.
Yeah.
And I got 8 seedlings out of a whole pack.
Okay. Can you
So,
save some seeds
yes.
for me for that? Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely. Yeah. So this year, my goal is to save everything that I'm growing a seed. So yes, I will save you some seeds.
Okay. Yeah. I've been looking around and wasn't able to find at a reasonable price those particular seeds. So the one thing about a pepper, and it's just, I feel like it's underrated, in a lot of folks' gardens. And I feel like peppers that we purchase in stores are just watered down.
They're garbage, man. They're totally garbage.
Literally. I had bought chile rellenos, which is one of my favorites, which is, kind of a stuffed and fried poblano pepper. And I bought a dinner and I was eating it and I was just saying to myself, like this is true flavor. You can not forget the cheese, forget the, the breaded, forget the oil. Like you can actually taste the flavor of that pepper. Right. And yeah, it's, talk about versatility, just the pepper family in general.
Yeah. And I grew, no, I didn't grow. So the same guy who got me on husk tomatoes or ground cherries. This is the last time I'm going to refer to them as ground cherries because I know them as husk tomatoes.
Okay.
HUSK. So you guys just going to have to like deal with it because it's too much. But he got me on bell peppers. And he was the same thing. He was like, here, man, have a piece. And I was like, no, man, I'm good. I've had a bell pepper. He's like, no.
Yeah.
And I tried and I was like, holy shit, this is a totally different experience. This is not even like, it's like this came from another planet. And that's what got me started growing bell peppers. I never grew bell peppers before, but then I tasted that and I was like, okay. And that's why that's another one of the few vegetables that I will pick up out there and I will eat, and that's why I'm growing the lipstick peppers in particular because they're prolific. Is that right? Prolific?
Yeah.
F for TH.
Lific. LIFIC. Yeah.
Okay. Prolific. And I
think you're really putting too much emphasis on a particular. I mean, if we're going to do grammar 101, no, I'm just teasing.
Leave me alone. So it's just, if it's going to be real productive, then I will, I will eat them out there. But if I'm only getting like a couple here and there, then I don't eat them out there because I want to share them with the family.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm growing those. But so I'm actually growing the most peppers I've ever grown before this year.
Yeah, I'm growing a bunch of peppers as well. And it's similar to the tomato, right? I mentioned this someplace about like looking for the kind of what my standbys will be as I continue to garden, like what my absolute favorite tomatoes are. And I basically have 400 to choose from. But peppers are a great example of that. Like they're givers, man.
Yeah.
And I talked about on this podcast before about bell peppers. I was kind of indifferent because I never really got a good harvest from bell peppers. And last year changed that. Right.
How did you plant those last year?
I planted a lot of the bell peppers near my tomatoes as was suggested by my wonderful co-host.
Did they? No, I'm not asking you to rub it in. I'm asking you did you see a difference?
I'm going to err on the side of, it did make a difference, but I'm still not convinced by that whole.
Another year? Takes another year?
It takes 3 years. We already know that. So
yeah, we know that.
Year 2.
All right. We're running out of time. We got more. What's your favorite melon?
In my limited melon growing career, I'm going to go with... honeydew.
How dare you come on this show and talk about a honeydew?
Actually, the favorite melon from last year was the mango hybrid melon. That's the best melon I've ever had to taste. That was a hybrid, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. So the seeds you sent me might not come out as mango, huh? It may not. Luckily,
I'm gonna be pissed if I grow them and they don't come back as mango. Just so you know.
I have the original seeds, which I should have been a nice friend and giving you some of those. So I know I'm going to get mango seeds from that, mango.
I hope they've
melons from that.
spliced them with something good. That was something good.
Yeah. So for the record, if you're looking for those in the stores, it doesn't taste like a mango. It's just it's the sweetest melon I've ever had. Period. Not just what I've grown, but period. So yeah, that one I'm going to go with is my favorite. Growing melons, though, I mean, it's not the easiest. You know, it seems to be, from everyone that I've talked to about melons, it seems hit or miss. I had a really good first year out, you know, so.
They're thirsty. Boy, are they thirsty.
Yeah.
Mine? Do I even need to say it out loud?
Yeah, you do.
Watermelon.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Come on, man. It's classic, dude.
Yeah.
That's
classic. My favorite melon, period. But I didn't get not a one, going back to it being hard to grow, like some melons being hard to grow. And I just don't have enough space, I don't think. I don't want to dedicate enough space to grow like the real size melons. So. Yeah,
I mean, they take up a lot of space. I grew, last year my melons were hit or miss, but that was the soil issues. There was a calcium issue, which was a lime issue, or not a lime, an acidity issue. But otherwise, like the year before I was getting like 50, 20, 30 pound melons, and it was amazing. It's great. It's just like when I think of summertime, I think of watermelon.
Space and time.
Yeah. Space and time.
It's something that I have to consider when it comes to melons.
That's why you need to have a wild garden.
Yeah, my favorite one of your gardens.
What's next? What's another category?
Is it alliums? Alliums.
Yeah, alliums.
I mean, yeah, it's not a whole lot in there, but.
Okay, do you like onions or garlic?
Yeah, right. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna choose one. You choose the other. I'm gonna go with onions.
Well, that's good because I choose garlic.
Yeah. Surprisingly satisfying to grow, though. I went to check to see. I don't see anything for my garlic yet, but I'm still hopeful.
You'll see it soon.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing as a root. You know what I mean? It's like you don't know what's down there. Like I've grown garlic before, and I go to pull it up, and I'm like, oh. There's nothing there. And then I pull it up, I'm like, holy crap, I got this huge garlic. So, you know, and it can change a dish so fast.
Remember, I'm kind of like, for garlic. But last year when I committed to planting it, I ended up buying a lot more of it. And even the smell of it used to kind of turn me off. But now it's kind of like, I feel like I'm really cooking. You know, like I'm adding it to all kinds of things.
Dude, you could literally be in the kitchen cooking a pile of dog crap and throw some garlic in it, and people be like, damn, that smells good. What you cooking? You know what I mean? Like every time I'm cooking and my wife comes.
I can't with you.
It's true. It's like, that smells good. I'm like, yeah, I don't have anything but garlic in the pan, but thanks for asking.
Yeah. It's similar, you know, going back to the onion, it's similar to like when you're sauteing onions, right? Yeah. There really is that feeling. I mean, it's kind of a universal kind of, you know, item to add to dishes too.
What's your favorite way to eat an onion?
Like an apple. No, so I like, my favorite way to eat an onion is...
You didn't even faze me with that.
Yeah. My favorite way to eat an onion is lightly grilled.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, I like that. My for garlic, mine I take it and put it in tinfoil in the oven and then just put like a quarter teaspoon of oil in it and then I just eat the cloves straight up.
Yeah.
So I like that. You know, vampires, stay away. They will not be here, you know.
Yeah, that was your commitment for 2021 to minimize vampire.
Oh yeah,
takeovers.
For sure.
Yeah.
There will be no more vampires in my yard.
Yeah.
So
I think we have just one more area that we have to cover.
What is that?
Your favorite herbs.
Oh, shoot.
You only get one. You only get one. Those are your rules.
Go ahead. Ladies first.
So I'm going to go with, it's my favorite and my least favorite.
Oh.
I know, it's a double one. It's mint. And it could be peppermint or spearmint. There's a level of joy that comes with it. It's a fighter, right? Which kind of teeters on the reason why it's not so much of a favorite. It's such a great thing to gift. You know, like I had a couple of years ago, a guy working on my deck, and I was just like pulling handfuls of mint out to give him, and he came back like a couple of days later. He planted it in his garden. It's you know, there are not a million ways for me to consume it, but it didn't have to be. You know, it's definitely it leaves a smell in the garden that's so pleasant. So
keeps deer away.
Well, luckily. Oh, maybe it is keeping deer away. No, maybe it's the mint all of these years that they haven't come into the city, the deer.
It's because you pulled mint out of your garden, spread it around Chicago, that the deer are like, screw Chicago, I'm done.
You're welcome, Mayor and residents. The only reason why I don't like it is how invasive it is.
Yeah, it is pretty damn invasive. I grow mint for the medicinal properties. That's why I grow it. So, and that allows me to use a lot of it. But that's a solid choice, and it's a surprising choice too.
Okay,
but you don't like mint. You surprise me all the time.
Well, that's the thing. We got to keep this thing fresh, man. We can't be out here just like, let me pick the answer out of your head, Batavia. No.
Okay. So what do you think my favorite is?
I don't know. I don't want to guess.
I want you to guess.
Rosemary?
No, it's a solid choice, though.
Okay, yeah.
That's a solid choice.
You had a question around that, though. Rosemary?
Yeah, you sound like my son.
Just don't guess. Think about the answer.
Yeah, just think about it, damn it. No, for me, it's basil. I'm gonna go with the classic.
Yeah, I actually just sowed some basil seeds. I'm going big on basil this year. I have one of my good girlfriends. Oh yeah, I have 3. Take that. I know, right? One is just for color. It's the purple Petra basil.
Yeah. What basils are you growing?
It's the regular Genovese basil, which is the most traditional, I think. But I have this lettuce leaf basil that I'm excited about. Like, it's supposed to be like the size of your hand, the leaves. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, to see what that happens with that. Yeah,
we're doing Thai lime basil and just regular basil, which I've never done anything other than regular basil. And this year I was like, you know what? I had the seeds. Let's live on the edge a little bit.
Yeah.
And I actually never started it by seed. I always took a clipping and started it. That's how I'd always done it.
Yeah.
So this is my first year.
A good girlfriend. It's the girlfriend, kind of one of my garden partners, one of my, advisors, and she does like a shit ton of basil every year. She gifts it to people in her kind of her apartment building or condo building, and she did, I think like 3 years ago, she did like chocolate basil, the lime one that you just mentioned. Like, she did all kinds of different varieties, and it's interesting. It kind of folds back into, we call it basil, but then it's so much more. It runs deep when it comes to varieties.
Well, and the reason why I like it so much, and it's versatile. Mm-hmm. It's like, I love rosemary, but you can't use it but in like so many things. You know what I mean? It's like, sage is good, but like, how often do you use sage?
Thanksgiving,
cilantro.
That's it.
Yeah, so you're growing this plant for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, maybe Christmas, yeah.
Yeah, and then cilantro, like, it's good, but it's limited as well. Like, there's not but so many dishes I would throw cilantro in. So
yeah, I do a really often an Italian blend, if you will, like, parsley, oregano, but you got to grow a lot of that to get to the point of drying enough of it. So yeah, I mean, those are some honorable mentions, but
yeah. And so I'm making, I know we had talked about in a previous episode, if you haven't seen it, go check it out, what we're doing new in our gardens this year, or garden resolutions, one of the two. Either way, check them both out. They're great.
yeah.
But I had said that I wasn't going to buy any of my plants this year. And I have to say that for my herbs, because I'm trying to rebuild from the hurricane, I do need to buy my oregano this year. Yeah. Because I want to fill it out, and I ran out of room, and sometimes they're hard to start.
And they take a long time to grow. So all of my herbs last year, with the exception of the rosemary plant that was there from 2 years ago, I started them all, indoors. And I probably should have already started most of mine, but I haven't. So I think those are good examples. I think you've given this tip before. Rosemary was probably the example we were using, like just buy the plant. Yeah. Just buy the plant, Just
buy the plant. Be done with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, because a lot of them are perennial too, depending on where you live. I mean, if you live in Batavia's zone, what?
6A as in apple. We were moving on from.
We're moving on. Yeah. We are now keeping it nice and polite. It's 6A as in aw shucks.
Yeah. So 6A as in she's awesome.
But in a lot of places they are perennial. Like my lemon thyme has made it all through the winter here.
Oh, real quick. So the rosemary, we talked about this. Planted in like 2018. Maybe planted in 2019 as a starter plant that I purchased. Bed was covered in 2019 going into 2020, covered with plastic over that winter. It bounced back and looked great in 2020 in Chicago in Zone 6A. I didn't cover that bed this year. So kind of 2020 going into 2021. And it's looking bad. So I'm going to keep an eye on it. I actually wanted to move it, so it's not the end of the world if I have to spend $3 on a new plant. But I'm just, we're going to see. We're going to test that whole, is it really perennial in this zone? You remember we had some really bad weather this year.
Yeah.
So we'll see if it comes back.
I think if you do a little bit of mulching and then keep it covered with snow, I bet you'd be surprised.
We'll see.
Yeah, we will see. I was surprised when I lived in zone 6A as well, which I believe might be true. It might not be true now. I'm not going to keep up with it because I don't live there. I know that it was not 7. It may have been 5. It may have been 6A, 6B, something. I don't know. But my thyme lived in a pot on the back porch. It survived the winter. So I know. Yeah. And, it wasn't supposed to do that, but it got covered in snow and I just left it.
Yeah.
So I think that's all of... You know what? I know we've missed something.
Yeah, absolutely we did. But I mean, we did. We don't want to... What?
Fruit.
Oh.
It's okay if you can't pick something. And
look, I'm gonna pick strawberries, and I'm gonna pick strawberries because I grow strawberries. I'm gonna pick strawberries because I haven't killed strawberries yet. I'm gonna pick strawberries because it's one of those pleasant looking plants. It kind of, it's almost invasive, right? But in a good way. And the ones that I've planted and grown, I've grown them in 2 separate times kind of in my garden life. They, take a licking and keep on ticking. The only asterisk around them is to really get a good crop, you really got to plant. One strawberry plant isn't going to do it, so you got to kind of commit to it. Yeah, you got to kind of commit to it. And I don't like any vegetables where it's like that first year, sucker, you got to wait till the second year, but it is what it is. So strawberries.
Blackberries. Holla. Yeah, I like blackberries. They're fun. And they're good. And truth be told, if I could grow fruit, like any fruit, I would not grow a single vegetable. I would only grow fruit. Truth be told.
Where are you at? What are you doing?
I am right here. I would have mango trees, orange trees, apple trees. I would have an orchard. I would have blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, raspberries, kiwis. I mean, you name it, but I have to be able to grow like whatever I wanted in order to do that. So that ain't going to happen. So
yeah. So it's the impossible wish, but I mean, I'm not going to try to answer that.
That would be a good dynamic if I was the fruit gardener and you were the vegetable gardener.
Yeah,
and that was it.
It would. Yeah.
Actually, we would not have shit to talk about. So
It would be like a battle, like
all the time.
absolutely. Well, then you have that whole argument of what, a tomato really is a fruit, but we're not going to go there. It's time for us to eat.
That's what I was going to say. But anyways, it's time for me to give you and come up with the recipe of the day. Okay, I'm getting excited to make this, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make it or not because I've never actually successfully grown this, but I've successfully cooked it.
Okay.
So it's going to be bok choy flavored, something with, I don't know. We just make it. We don't have a name for it. So
okay. All right. Tell us about it.
Yeah, you take bok choy and you're going to lightly steam it. Okay. And I don't even cut it up. I just, put it right in the pan, little bit of water, and sauteed some garlic with it, and then put in, let me start over. Saute the garlic, put in the bok choy, put in soy sauce, a little bit of soy sauce, and you're going to actually steam with that. And then I'm going to get hoisin sauce, Hoiso or En. Hoisin.
Okay.
Not poison. Poison. Not that. We're going to get...
Sorry. There's a dance move there for those that are listening and not watching. You missed it.
You missed it. You should check it out right here on YouTube. But we're going to take hoisin sauce and you're going to drizzle it on. Now, hoisin sauce is basically pure sugar, so be careful about how much you use. I use a drizzle. And then at that point, the soy sauce is cooked down. I'll add a little bit of sesame oil to kind of toss it and then just brown it a little bit and serve it. And it's really good. So that's a classic combination we use for a lot of vegetables, but for bok choy, it works really well.
Yeah. I like those kinds of recipes because it is the reminder of, for a lot, because I love a leafy green, right?
Yeah.
Which we kind of sort of didn't even include in this list, but that's fine. And there's so many traditional ways to cook leafy greens, like bok choy. I bet, the top way is going to be steamed in some stir fry, right? But there's so many other ways. And you also reminded me that I didn't make a place for bok choy in my garden. Damn it.
Yeah. So
I'm going to make a place, but I hadn't yet.
So first of all, you had a chance to do leafy greens and brassicas because that encompasses most of them. And you said collards.
Nope, because if we would have talked about leafy greens, I would have said separate from brassicas, I would have folded in kale. I've been waiting an hour and 5 minutes to get that in there.
Kale, okay.
That would have been my second brassica? It is. That would have been my second brassica, but you didn't let me.
Yeah. Hey, that was your fault.
I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, but I mean, and a lot of times what I like to highlight those things in the dish instead of burying it inside of a stir fry.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I hate stir fry. It is the catch-all basic food for everything. Now that I've blown everybody's ears out talking to the mic like that, I apologize.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things that it's like, what are we going to have? Oh, I want something healthy. Let's have stir fry. You know what I mean? And there's so many other things you can do.
I think the enjoyment really folds into how fresh the ingredients are and how, if you don't overcook it, otherwise it's kind of like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, and in that recipe,
I'm getting hungry.
I basically cook it until the edges of the leaves are like browned.
That's
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you'll never get the stalk totally cooked. So, that's always going to be juicy.
Isn't cheap in my neighborhood when it comes to buying it in the store. I'm going to look up.
But it grows fast.
Yeah, it grows fast, but I'm sure it's frost tender.
I put a picture on my stories yesterday of my bok choy that I needed to thin. Didn't say it was bok choy, but when I thin it, I'm not going to cut it. I'm just going to separate it and replant it in other places because it's so fast to grow that I'll be able to turn around and get it out. And I had a guy come over to the house last weekend. We have all the kids come over and play. And he was standing on my back porch and he's like, "Is that collards out there?" I was like, "Yeah."
The little boy?
No, the guy.
Oh, okay.
And he apparently had started a garden, so we started talking, and he was saying that his bok choy And this is in March, in early March in North Carolina. He has it, and he's like, when do you harvest this stuff? And I was telling him, for the record, look at the grocery store. If it looks like it does in the grocery store, harvest it.
Yep. That's my number one tip when it comes to that. Yeah.
That's all I tell people. And he was like, yeah, I have bok choy, but it's all floured. And I'm like, okay. So I should have started earlier.
Yeah.
So
I've successfully direct sowed bok choy, and I've done it like right just before summer, but that's a short window, right? So I was just looking up, like, I'm pretty sure I have to wait until after danger of frost, but and the trouble with bok choy for me is it's that white moth, the cabbage moth.
Yeah, my bok choy is sitting outside and it froze. So
yeah.
But my freezing isn't as hardcore as yours.
Yeah, I mean, I just know that those leaves are really, really tender. And last year I did it last fall, and I didn't cover them, and they just got ate up. So I got to figure out where to put them for this year. I'm going to get them this spring. Damn it.
In 2 weeks after about the time this airs, I should be planting out my tomatoes. Mm-hmm. So I usually wait 2 weeks after my last frost.
Plant tomatoes. I'm not going to make any commitments. I don't want to become, the person that doesn't keep their commitments.
That's okay.
Tomatoes.
You don't have to.
I'm still a little bit nervous about the early planting for my summer garden, but I'm going to fight through it.
So look, you guys have been on a roller coaster today. You have heard both of us get upset. You have heard me drop the mother of all cuss words, which I still have not decided if I'm going to bleep out, which by the time you get to this, you will know that it probably has been bleeped out because it's just too hardcore.
Yeah.
You have been through Batavia borderline crying. We've been laughing. We've been joking because we're talking about all of our favorite ones.
Yeah.
What are your favorite vegetables? Let us know. Check us out in all our usual places. You got anything to tell the good people?
See ya.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. If you want to see what we're up to or just stay up to date on all the announcements regarding the show or anything gardening, then you can follow us on Instagram at Backyard Gardens TV.
We love seeing what you guys are doing, so use hashtag BYG Podcast in your posts, and we'll be sharing your gardens with the Backyard Gardens community.
And check us out on YouTube at Backyard Gardens, where we will post this show, all of our other shows, clips, and then also some gardening tips and just gardening entertainment. And you can see us at our website at backyardgardenstv.com. But that's it for today's show. So help us as we learn to grow and grow for change. And until next time, we'll catch you guys later. We'll call this one a wrap.
Now you know why people feel like celebrating at harvest time.
All over the world, people have feasting and good times when the crops have been gathered in.